All right, we are recording now.
Okay, so I wanted to welcome you guys all. Karen is busy today, so she won't be here. So I am just introducing. And today we have wonderful guest speakers, and it says Karen Fettis, but obviously that is not Karen.
Yeah, no.
That is Eileen and Steve Reeder, who are going to talk to us today. But first, I wanted to congratulate all of you that are working so hard on this program and coming to these live. We love seeing you guys. We love getting live so you can ask questions. You know, this is a great opportunity. We have Steve and Eileen to ask them questions. So we are excited. Steve's always, as you saw at the beginning, very blunt. We'll give it to you just how it is, right?
That is a word that you could use to describe me, yes.
My husband's the same way, so I'm used to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we're super excited to have them on. They are going to be talking about how they run the business as a family, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to send it over to Eileen.
All right.
And then if you have questions for me too, Eileen's going to kind of bounce it back and forth. I'm happy to help answer and help
Yeah.
out.
So, I mean, thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you starting us off. Both Sarah and I and our husbands have been in the business for a really long time. What year did you sign up, Sarah?
2005.
Okay, so we were the end of 2004. We're
October,
actually, yeah, October 30th of 2004 is our anniversary. So we're coming up on 16 years. Sarah's hot on our heels in 2005. So she has just as much experience in this as I do. So that's what I told Sarah, just jump in, but she doesn't have her other hat. I think you ought to text him, Sarah, and say, you need to
He
get
might
home.
be home, but I don't know. I heard someone come in, so
He's
Well,
sneaking around.
Yeah, mute yourself. We'll get started, and then you guys can come in and we can have a conversation. It would be fun. And I haven't seen Sean in forever.
Yeah.
BT dubs. So, all right, guys. Yeah, but I'm Eileen Reeder. You all know that by now. This is my husband, Steve. He is the behind the scenes.
I'm not just behind the scenes, but that's my main.
That's your main, I would say like 80% of what Steve does is more behind the scenes. I'm more of the front face of our business.
I have done parties. I do deliveries. So.
And
but
I'm sorry, we don't plan anything. I can't plan anything with this guy. He's way better off the cuff. And so just know that if we're like in 10 different directions, that's the reason. So feel free if we say something and we don't delve into it or talk about it as much as you'd like, that we can circle back to it. I'm happy to do that. So we started in 2004, like I said, and in the beginning of the business, it was just me. Like when you have a business of one, it doesn't take two people to run a business of one. So it wasn't until
2009.
Well, no. It was way before that.
Oh.
It was about, so I started in 2004. We moved very soon after out of state. So if any of you have that experience, I know it can be scary to start a business and then have to like move and feel like, oh my gosh, I'm starting from square one. I've done that before and it can be done. You can be successful, but it does take work.
You actually had to give away how many parties?
Oh gosh, I had, so one of my dear friends that I've known way before Sensi, she signed up with me just a few months into my journey. And when I left, I was like, Sherry, and many of you know Cheryl Stoddard, that's who I'm talking about. I, at the time, had like 10, 12 parties, home parties booked. And I was like, Cheryl, we have not two pennies to rub together. There's no way I can drive back from Washington State and do these parties. And we were in Meridian, Idaho at the time. So I literally contacted all my hostesses and said, Cheryl Stoddard is amazing. I'm giving her these parties. She's going to do a great job for you. And that was that. And it really did help Cheryl launch her business in that area. And I was really glad to do that. I, on the other hand, came to Washington and started a full-time job in retail, which if any of you know, yeah, I was working usually 60 hours a week, being paid on a salary. and it sucked, but I had to do what I had to do for my family because my business wasn't big enough. You know, I was only making a few $100s a month. So it definitely wasn't enough to help support a family of 5. We had 3 children at the time. And so Steve was working, I was working. I really put Scentsy on the back burner because I was in a management position in retail and I didn't want to jeopardize that. And so I didn't talk about Scentsy at all. So for several months when we first moved, I wasn't doing anything. But by the next year, so that would have been 2005. So the beginning of 2006, I started talking about Scentsy on my lunch break. I started bringing testers. I had some basket parties. One of my co-workers, her mom wanted to do a party. So that's where it started, with one party and a couple of basket parties with some friends. And from there, we did I remember I wasn't working as much, but it was anywhere between 45 to 55 hours a week. And I had done some kind of vendor event. And you guys, oh my gosh, I came away from this vendor event with like 30 home parties. And I literally had to make a decision on what I was going to do with that. And Steve and that's at the point where I'm like, I don't have enough hours in the day to work, 50 hours a week on average and try and do 30 home parties. And that's not an exaggeration. I mean, I was like so overwhelmed and I was like, I have this amazing opportunity.
We had a deep discussion about it.
Yeah, what do we want to do with it? And so we decided to jump in with Scentsy. I quit my full-time job. By then I was making more with Scentsy, but it was a struggle to get my sales.
Still wasn't enough to take, it didn't take the place of your
It didn't
job,
replace my income, but I was close. And I said, I know if I can take these 30 parties and actually even do half of them, I said, I think within about 3 months, I can replace my income. And that's what we worked towards.
So August 8th of 06.
Yeah, and that was about the time when you started getting involved, you wanted more, and you wanted to get involved. And it just, he kept saying, well, I want to quit my job. I want to quit my job. I'm like, no, you can't quit your job. Not yet, not yet, not yet. And his love, well, I won't say his love. His love is me.
You're my love, yes. Give me the opportunity to jump in here. You're my love.
Yeah.
Okay, there.
No, what he enjoys doing is numbers. He loves the numbers. So I think, I gave you a lot of background on us, but what I wanted to get to was the natural, there's one person wanting to join. Hold on, let me admit her. What happened is as Steve started getting involved, there was a natural separation of what I enjoyed doing as part of the business and what he enjoyed doing about the business.
Yeah, so it's not like we sat down and said, okay, you're going to be responsible for this. It was just, we both worked together, but naturally I did X, Y, and Z, and she did A, B, and C.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Now I will say that Steve is a carbon copy of his dad personality wise when it comes to people. He's a people person. He can talk to anybody. And so I won't say that even though he did a lot of the accounting part of it and starting to learn that and track, like he's been tracking our numbers like we tell you guys to do. He's been tracking them since 2007. May of 07. So we have numbers
every day.
Every day he's
So
tracked our numbers.
TWV, expected commission based on a rough percentage.
He's got a little formula.
How many in the
there.
team? How many new? How many active? I've added to it over time, but kind of how we're comparing to last month at the same time, and how we're comparing to last year at the same time. So I can take a snapshot and see how are we doing in relation to, and you can do this on your workstation too, but I like to be able to see the daily trends and to see what we're doing throughout the month. If
It
that
is-
makes sense.
It is a very common occurrence for him to say, honey, we are trending at doing this amount this month. Because
This month, we started off, just this is kind of fun. I realized we started off this month trending at doing $42 million for our group.
like
So-
forecasting. So when
Now-
you track numbers in the past, you can forecast for numbers in the future. And so that's
But
what
this
he's
was based
talking
on
about.
just the
The
first day-
first
first
day.
day's number. And so
Meaning-
that gives you a perspective, even
But you
though
have
it's
to
not going to
explain
end
it.
up.
You have to explain what that means though. If we had done the same amount every day for the rest of the
Right.
month, we would have done 42 million group wholesale volume.
Right. So does that make sense? So we can look at it and go, well, that's kind of fun. And now as the month goes on, the number decreases. And I think we're down to $9.9 million, which
It's still
still not bad.
amazing.
And but that number will fluctuate. So it's just, I like to see what's happening in real time, I
Yeah.
guess. And so let's,
So back to what I was saying, he actually is quite, he's quite versatile when it comes to helping in our business. So I think we're very blessed that way. Like I mean, obviously I'm not wearing Scentsy logo, but he is. But guess who goes out and does all of the drop-offs and deliveries and things like that? He does. Because I'm usually tied to my computer doing Zooms, doing social media, doing lives, like he can't stand the whole, making a video thing. You guys, when we have to make a video, it usually takes us about 30 takes because he's the one that's like, oh, stop, we got to redo that. We got to redo that. We got to redo that. So it's good as a couple. Is that him?
yes, he just walked out of the room. Anyways,
All right, when he comes back in.
He's
we're-
just getting my computer charger for me. He's here.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Anyways, I think that it's good if you have a partner that is willing to help you figure, and this is what we've always told other couples, and that is, one, make sure if your significant other wants to quit their job, make sure that you have several years where you are solid in what you're making with Scentsy. So I quit in 2006 to work Scentsy full time. He didn't quit until 2009. So we waited a good 3 years, and then I was comfortable with what we were making. I was comfortable with what we were trending. I will say, I mean, obviously not this year. This year we're doing amazing, but the past 5 years we had a downtrend, right? Or at least in our business, we had a lot of people leaving our teams and our group. We were surviving mostly on our events that we were doing, and the customer base we had already built up in the area where we're at. And so that was kind of an interesting time.
Yeah.
But I think you need to use the natural abilities of whoever it is in your family. Now, I thought it might be fun to bring in Lauren and tell. So
should I just
the other,
yell?
yeah, you can yell. for her.
Lauren,
The other thing that I think is fun is if you have small children, and I'm sure you've heard this before, and you guys are probably already doing it. Use them. Let them feel like a part of what you're doing. I mean, I know so my oldest just turned 25, and when she was really little, she loved to help me with the dishes. Like, it made a huge mess and it was more work for me, but at the same time, it got her involved and it helped her to learn something. And I think involving your kids in the business is the same thing. They can label and sticker, they can stuff things in envelopes. And I just thought it might be fun for you guys because Lauren has literally grown up with Scentsy. She was about 10, I guess, 2004, October
were you in
2004. You had just turned 9.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my daughter, Lauren.
Hi.
And she's the oldest of 4. And
this is Kendall.
What,
Yep, that's
what
my
are
baby.
some of the things you remember working our business? And it's
Um,
fine if you know, whatever you remember, even as a little kid or all the way
Yeah.
more recently.
I think that like in kind of what context, like just like what I remember about like you guys working, or like what I remember my life being like.
How did we involve you in the business?
Oh, I felt like I was involved like from the very beginning, like just like with the little things I could do at like my younger age. Like I felt like I remember like I always remember setting up for like shows, and like I remember you doing like home parties and basket parties. Like I remember those things pretty well. Like I never went with, actually that's a lie. I did go to like 2 or 3 parties with you, I think. I
Okay.
don't know about Kayla or Jacob, but I remember going to parties. I
Hey,
feel
see,
like
I even brought her to party. I don't even remember that, but that's good.
yeah, no, I remember you didn't bring, it wasn't very often, but I do remember a couple like home parties.
Okay.
It's probably with people you knew a little bit better,
Yeah.
but and then like I just remember it kind of became like I don't want to say all consuming, but I remember like it just became a super big part of like our
Our
routine.
everyday life.
Yeah, like I remember going to like the Scentsy office a lot. Like we went to the Scentsy office all the time when Scentsy first started, and like then when we moved up here, I don't remember like the early stages of you signing up, but I remember like maybe a couple years in, like once we got out of Grams's house.
Yeah.
And like when you really decided to make it a business, and you and Dad quitting, like I remember you and Dad quitting your jobs, and like that was like a super big like thing for like me and Kayla and Jacob.
And when we started doing events, what was your guys' main job?
To like, well, like our main job, I just remember we had to like set up like, I mean, we'd set up for like all day long, like at the expos and the fair. And actually that was really fun. Like I loved setting up for the fair because like we got to be there all week long, even though we weren't doing like the fun things. Like it was actually kind of fun to just like be in the booth and like help, even though we were like little kids.
Yeah.
And,
So-
and you also did sales as you got older. You would
Yeah,
help
like I got,
sell.
like probably
So
more towards
she-
when I was like 15 or 16, I started like getting into the sales aspect of it, I guess.
And she is a little bit more like her dad as far as she actually enjoys that. She enjoys talking to people. She enjoys the selling aspect of it.
Well, it was fun because I was a kid, so I feel like I didn't have like the like nervousness of like, oh, what if they like say no or think I'm too pushy? Like I was just like a kid, so I didn't care. I was like, you should buy this. This is great. Like I don't know.
Well, and even when they're this young, so I'll show you this one.
Kendo,
I know lots of people. Can you smell?
can you smell? Can you smell the bar?
So she and our youngest daughter, our
You
9-year-old,
want it? Yeah.
when she was younger, would
Does it
grab the
smell
bar if there's customers, and she'd even bring it up to customers and have them smell. So, and that's,
Does
of
it
course,
smell
that's
good?
cute,
Did you say hi? I know you kind of gotta.
but
Well, she's got blue on her chin. It's
Oh,
not from the bar, I don't think. But
so
it's not. It's
That's-
not sweating.
so you use the whole family however they best fit. And
Sorry,
This is
she's
fun.
like really snotty here, but.
and she's got to smell the scent. So
Yeah.
Well, and I think like for me as a kid, like it was nice to have my parents home. So like having my parents home was like I really enjoyed that that's what they did because they were home. And so I was willing to help because it meant that my parents could be home if I helped out, I guess.
yeah.
A lot of times like I helped out too by just watching the kids though. Like I think that was also like a main part of what I did being the oldest. Like I was the one who helped just like watch the kids while you guys did go do shows if we didn't end up going. Or more so like maybe when Brooklyn was born and like,
Yeah.
I mean, she was a baby, so like she couldn't.
So we
be-
have a little bit of a gap. So I have 3 kids, 25, 23, and 18. And then our youngest is actually 9. And so there was a time, I think, where the older kids were more like, you need to watch Brooklyn so mommy can, do whatever it was with Scentsy, or daddy could do
And
But like I
now-
think that gave me like a lot of good like skills for life
Yeah.
too though. Like not that that's gonna be everyone's situation, but like I learned how to be really responsible like at a young age and like take care of Brooklyn, who's the youngest, and
Yeah.
I think that helps me in ways too. So
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
and now she makes samples and she
Yeah.
helps us with
now I'm like more my
mailings.
mom's assistant, so I do a lot
Yeah.
of mailings and samples and inventory and
Okay, take your kid out. You're good. Thank you.
Mr. like you need to come now he's kicking me out.
Right.
I'm on a phone call anyway.
That's right.
So I'd be interested to hear from, hi, Sean, how you doing? You guys are muted.
Sorry now. He's unmuted now.
Yeah. Hey.
Hi. Were you, sorry, I was
Should've
talking to
said
Sarah.
Oh, no worries.
didn't
I
hear-
was just like, I think it would be interesting. That's kind of been our experience. Like, we literally have made our business like a family business. Like, everybody, I mean, even Brooklyn recently had friends over and I had them labeling stuff.
And she's selling to her teacher
Yeah.
over Zoom.
She knows her teacher loves Seahawks, and we got the Seahawks warmer in, and she's like, my mom has Seahawks warmers that you need. Okay, she's 9 years old and she's
And-
selling.
Teacher wants it, so.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'd love to hear from the Speechleys, and is it similar? Do you guys have a similar experience?
So I'm going to say we started out very different. And I actually think it's good to hear because maybe some of you don't have like a super supportive husband or spouse. So I think it's good to hear. And I'm going to let him explain it because it's good to come from his side or his point of view, which I think is good.
I'm dusting off the cobwebs here, so I apologize. So I guess when Sarah started Scentsy, I thought it was just going to be a fad. She'd do it for a couple of months and then she'd quit and move on to something else. When did you start? 2005?
Mhm.
So I was 3 years into building my business, and I'm a State Farm insurance agent, and so I was into that over my head, just working crazy hours, going into the office at 7 a.m, coming home at 10 o'clock at night, and all of a sudden Sarah's like, I need to go do a party at 6 o'clock on Wednesday night. And I was like, wait a minute, I've got appointments. I can't be at two places at the same time. You're going to just have to figure out how to have the kids, get a babysitter. Cause I was, we were young. I was new into my career and I was doing what I had to do. And I didn't think Scentsy was going to do anything, to be honest with you. I thought, like I said, I thought it was just going to come and go. And so she kept wanting to do more parties. She kept wanting to do these events on the weekend, on Saturdays specifically. And, I was working 70, 80 hours a week at the time. And then, Saturdays were my golden day where I could take a rest. I could go watch the game. I could, I needed that to recharge my batteries per se. And she wanted to go off and do these events. And so I told her that she needed to quit because, she was spending way too much time with her hobby. And, but ultimately we talked through that.
He's glad now I didn't listen to him.
Yeah. But we talked through that and came up with a plan that worked for us where I would give a little, she would give a little, and she continued to work her Scentsy business. And as I've listened to Steve and I'm drawing Eileen. Sorry, I'm tired. It's been a long day.
It's all right. My name's not on the thing. It's Karen.
Karen.
So go ahead and call me Karen.
I know who you are. Anyways.
That's all right. You're all good, Sean.
But as the years have gone on, I still have my office. I've never given that up. I don't want to give that up. So I have a job, and I go into the office. I work from home today. So, things are, I haven't given that up, but, I'm still involved in the business. Over the years, I've been more involved at times and less involved at other times. But one thing that the readers talked about their roles in the business, and there's clearly things that I do that Sarah doesn't do, and mostly doing the books, the accounting, the making sure that the accounts are, up to snuff and that we're ready for you know, when it comes time for taxes, and I take care of all that stuff. And Sarah does a lot of the, well, she does the ordering. If I had to put a Scentsy order in, I wouldn't even know where to begin. That's just not where I'm at. But I do help her run her events. We have some all day events that we do throughout the year. And I take the day off from work and I go to the event and I help her and I lift in the box. I'm just the slave. I just do whatever she tells me to do.
He does all the heavy lifting and setting up. He does all the setting up.
Yeah, I do the setting up. Like I'm the slave. So
That's what our kids were. I mean, he is too, but you know, when
But I'm
carry
well
this-
paid.
carry this box here, carry that box there, set up, pull out the warmers, you know, and then I know I've been around long enough that I know enough about the business that I can get by. I can fake it for long enough, but Sarah's the real expert. She's the driving force behind this. But I'm here to support and I'm here to help.
What would
So-
you give advice like for if someone has a spouse or a family member, even a mother? I mean, my parents weren't real involved either. What kind of got
They weren't
you?
involved.
They didn't
They-
care.
they
for the
weren't
business.
supportive.
Yeah, they weren't supportive.
Her-
So
her-
none of my family has been real supportive with the business. They're like, oh, direct sales, that's just where you're pushy sales and da da da. They were never real supportive. He wasn't real supportive at the beginning. He just thought I was going to quit. I wasn't going to do it. But what got you involved? What finally made it click for you?
The money. I mean, for me, it was seeing her paycheck come in. And I remember the first time she made I can't remember what it was. It was
It was like
$1,000. And I went, oh my gosh, she made $1,000. But, and you got to realize at that time, Sarah was on bed rest with our third child. And so the checks used to come in the mail and we had to go deposit them. And so I'd have to go deposit the check. And the check showed up and it was about $1,000. And I was like, she made $1,000 laying in a bed last month. That's not possible. And so then the next month comes and she made another $1,000. And I was like, okay, there's something to this. And then in my mind, I go, man, if she could just make $1,000 every month, that would really take the edge off things, you know, because it would have back then. And then she made a check. I don't remember, was
the
it?
next month?
It was like in the November check, which is usually the biggest month of the year. She made a $3,000 check in a month, and I went, holy crap.
Did you have to go to the chiropractor after you snapped your neck from turning your head so fast?
Probably. Maybe that's why I have like persistent neck pain today.
Yeah,
But no,
I got a headrest for my chair for that very reason.
yeah. But she made $3,000 in a month, and I was like, holy cow, if she could just make $3,000 every month, that really would take off the edge. And it did. And Scentsy grew from there. She didn't make $3,000 every month the next year, but she did really well. And things have grown from there. And she's built a great team, an international team. And you know, now, I mean, her income my job's more of a hobby now. I shouldn't say it's a hobby. It's a good job. I put too much blood, sweat, and tears into it to just walk
Right.
away.
yeah,
But I never thought that my job would be the backup plan. So, and it offers a lot of benefits and that I don't think traditional jobs offer.
Well, it's interesting, Sean, if I can interject, you say, you know, before I quit, so I quit the job that I had when Eileen quit.
Mhm.
I quit it and started working from home, actually selling Carnauby Car Wax, which was Orville's other company.
Right.
I was running that from home. And so it was kind of fun. I mean, I was doing that. But when I finally got the green light from Eileen, she realized that I was coming down to her office, sticking my nose in her business more often, to where she finally said, you know what? I could really use your help full time. So why don't you give up Carnauby and help me? And that's 2009,
Well, and
That's what
I
happened.
remember the conversation we had, because what were you making, like
2,500 a month.
2,500 a month. And I was like, honestly, I'm not sure what we were making with Scentsy
I
at
don't
the
know.
time. I think it was in the 10 range. And I just said, I think you could actually help us make more than 2,500 a month if you quit Carnegie and worked full time in Scentsy. And it turned out to be, correct, because I knew that he was a good salesman. And I'm not saying like you have to be a salesman to do Scentsy. I'm just saying he enjoyed talking with people. I knew that if he was out and about doing deliveries and whatever, he was always talking Scentsy. Like he is an amazing ambassador. And so I needed to harness that to help us grow our business, because I wasn't out as much actually. And I knew that that was one of his strengths. So we're at 5:33. So I know we're kind of over time. If anybody has to hop off, I totally understand. But I want to make sure we get to any questions. And I want to just highlight a few of the things that I think it was important for us as a couple working together. And that is, the main thing is that we used each other's strengths. Wherever I fall short, he kind of picks up on, or vice versa, except in the taxes department. Like I would have no idea how to do the quarterlies, how to do he said.
So in other
this,
words,
that,
you would
and
do just
but
fine then.
I would have no idea. I would be like, tax accountant, help.
Just pay $750 and you'll be fine. It works for President Trump. So sorry.
Sounds good. And she's like, shh, honey, it's fine, Sarah. I do the same thing. Anyways, so I don't know, Sarah, what's your main takeaway from like working successfully together? Like, make sure you have a slave that loves you.
I think incorporating them into it. I know even Orville even said with your spouse or with your kids, pay them, give them a portion, let them get involved with it, let them see that dollar amount, whether you're making 1,000 a month or 100 a month. Give them a portion. Let your kids say, hey, let's go out to dinner as a family on the Scentsy dime. They will get more involved in Scentsy and want to see that grow. Or if it becomes the vacation money or whatnot.
The incentive.
Yeah.
Yeah, the incentives. I mean, we got Disney. I told my kids that, hey, if you want to come to Disney World, you got to start selling, so just getting them involved.
That's exactly right. When we're doing Scentsy, like from the time we found out it was Walt Disney World, anytime I asked them to do something, like I mentioned that Brooklyn and her friend were labeling for me, I'm like, oh, you're earning your trip to Walt Disney World right now, so that they understand they're actually working towards something.
Now we earned the first Walt Disney World trip, but that was when Eileen was pregnant with Brooklyn. And we had to
That wasn't
take
happening.
the consolation prize.
Yeah, but
But-
anyways, so did you notice any questions, Sarah?
No questions yet.
I don't know if everybody's been on an incentive trip or been to a Scentsy event, but bringing your significant other, your spouse to a Scentsy event and have him experience that is eye-opening, and it's fun. And you really, I remember when we first went to our first incentive trip and Sarah's like, don't expect a lot. It's not going to be like your company's incentive trip. And I'm like, okay, all right, we'll just go and have fun. And ultimately it was better than what my company put on. So, and my company's incentive trips are really hard to earn, like really hard to earn. And Scentsys are hard too. I get that, but they seem to be, they're really good. So
they're over the top, amazing trips. So work for them. I know they are work, but it will get your significant other.
Yeah, you
excited.
see a different side of the company, and you get rewarded for all your hard work, and it's fun to experience.
I think it's eye-opening to talk to other people and have your spouse or significant others or your kid or parent or whoever can work the business with you to see that, to talk to other people, to see how they can also help out. is amazing too. So
Absolutely.
Well, and it's fun to make friends with other couples and other
yes.
Mhm.
people that, we've done that a lot. We've got lots of friends all over, and they're not necessarily in our downline. They're just
No,
other Sensi consultants that
Yeah.
you're on an excursion and you're, sitting next to them on the bus or whatever. And
well, I remember when we talked in Banff, Steve, you
Yeah.
were right behind me and we sat and chit chatted for, I don't know, the half hour we were together on
you
that.
couldn't get me to shut up, could you?
And that
It's
was
okay.
what, 14 years ago?
We're still going.
Yeah. Yeah.
11 years ago.
No, it's-
Wow.
Awesome. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, we should probably wrap it up because we are at almost 5:40. So
If somebody
almost
has a
10
question,
minutes,
just raise your hand if we can see you.
Raise a hand or type.
really quick.
Not seeing any.
And if not, that's fine. That just means we covered everything.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yep, just get your family involved. It is fun. And it doesn't, I know someone said they didn't have a significant other or spouse. That's okay. Get your kids, your parents. I know people that have their sister help out. There's different ways, different
Or-
people you can
Or
do.
friends.
Homework will be posted later tonight. Right?
I love
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have to read. I love Jill Sanders. Is my dog smells the bars. That's fun. Yeah, get the
I
pets.
love
Get the
that.
pets involved. You
That's
got the
right.
pet line now.
Right.
Get the pet. They can be a model for your video, whatever.
Oh
you
my
know.
gosh, they could totally be in a live with you. That would be so fun. Your dog's like sniffing
People
the
love
bars.
animals, and so if
Yeah.
you're showing off your pet, people are going to be like, "Oh my gosh."
Absolutely.
We have real quickly. We have a customer who, her husband is a plumber, and he did some work for us. And I asked if we could do some trade because he wanted some Sensi, and I said, why don't we just do some trade? Anyways, yesterday, 2 days ago, I was dropping off an order to him and his wife, and he happened to be there, and he came out and he said, I want you to know I got the raw end of the deal on that trade. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? You didn't like the stuff? And he goes, my wife absolutely loves Sensi, and now that's all she ever wants to buy. I'm like, hey, I make no apologies for that. Anyways, so he found out that we have pet freshen up pup, and they have 2 stinky Newfoundlands. And now he's like, honey, whatever
You
it
can
costs, buy
spend
it.
the money on that.
So. anyway,
Okay, we do
anytime
have
you
a
throw
few
that in.
questions too now. So
Okay.
one said, I need to hire some people to be my family. And that is fine too. I do have an assistant that does help me with some of the things. And she does a lot of sales. She helps me out, and she's amazing. So that's okay to do too. I know people have assistants go on the incentive trips with them. Hey, work it hard and come with me.
Yeah,
They'll do it. So
exactly.
even if you don't have family, you can do, supportive, you can do that. The next question is, if you have a boyfriend or spouse join, do you have to add their name to the account? No, not necessarily. They can just help you out. If
Mhm.
later on you want to like incorporate and have more than one name on it, that's up to you. I think your name's
You want
on
to
it.
make it official or legal or whatever.
Official or legal, you can. I do have some team members that are sisters that both have their name on, but they had to incorporate because it only goes under one social security. So you have to incorporate to do that. But if it's, just starting off, I just leave it under you and they're helping you out and whatnot. So
All right.
hopefully, I think that's the only questions. So
I feel bad because somebody's joining our call just now, but I
Oh.
think we're going to go ahead and end it.
yeah, it's
Oh, thank
recorded,
you.
so they can watch
Yep,
the
it's
live.
recorded. Thank you so much for joining us. If you guys have specific questions, feel free to reach out to either Sarah or myself. We're happy to answer those. And we hope you guys have a good evening. And yes, we will post the homework probably later on this evening.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye, everyone.